Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Stack and Perpetrator here. Another kind of off version of what's in the box. I just went ahead and laid it out. It's a LCS purchase. When I was in looking through the junk bin, they didn't have many Walkers or Benjis or even Kennedys. But they did hold these back for me because they know I like these. And I picked up not one, not two, but three of the 1893 Columbia Exposition Commemorative. These were highly minted, so they're not rare by any means. They do have pretty good price in high grades, but these aren't too bad. These actually look worse than they are because they are heavily toned. I will not try to clean them up. I will leave them the way they are. But junk bin pricing, I will actually, if I was going in just to buy random Benjis where I didn't care, I'd just pluck them out. If I had my choice between just picking up random Benjis or random Walkers, I will take these Commemoratives as long as they're not worn out. I have passed on some that were kind of slick, but these look pretty good. This one does have a couple scratches on the obverse. This another 93. This is a year before my great-grandmother was born. She was born in 1894. But pretty nice looking coin. Again, heavily toned. These are extremely toned. But they still look nice. This one has a little bit of a blue hue on the rim. Again, this one's a 93. Still pretty nice looking coin, even though it is heavily toned. Junk bin pricing, I would rather have, I said I would rather have these. I've actually, ever since when we came into 2000 and things started going crazy, that's when I switched to more to the numismatic side, and I've been more selective since we've had high premiums on silver. So since then I've been with the high premiums. It has taught me to be more selective in what I purchase. Granted, these aren't super valuable, but just putting them in the stack, I don't mind having a tube full of these. I think I'm up to 9 or 10 between both years of the Columbian, the 82, the 1892 and 1893 Columbian coins. So I don't mind picking them up. And then the other one is a Stone Mountain, which has some odd toning, but it does have some luster left on it. It looks, the toning is kind of off-putting a little bit, but it's still a nice looking coin that I didn't mind picking up again for junk bin pricing. I think I have 7 or 8 of these, maybe 7 Stone Mountains. All of them I paid junk bin pricing for. This one still has some luster on it, so it's still going to grade in the high AU. So there's those. Let me know down below if you saw these in the junk bin. Would you pick these up versus Benjis or Walkers, or let me know. I'm interested in hearing from you. And then one other thing, And I know this is not a high-end coin, but it is something that I found. I was going through my marks, looking at all my 45s. I was looking to see if I had a 45 micro S. And I came across this one and I set it aside because it looked different. And I'll show you the back in a minute. It's not a bad looking coin. I mean, it's not BU. But that's not the point of this one. So it just happened to be in one of my tubes. Like I said, I was going through looking for the micro S. And the reverse looks pretty good. But what I want to do, because I don't know if my camera is good enough to pick this up. Definitely not good enough if it goes out of focus. Alright, come on. If you look at the S, this is what was weird to me. See if I can get this on up here. There's something wrong with that S. And I got on the old Google machine, did a little skiddly-doo, and I pulled up a couple of eBay listings, because the problem with that S is that S on this coin is inverted. It is, the punch used was inverted, so it's, the S is upside down. What it should look like, let's see if I can get it to zoom in for you or loop it out. It should look like that. Let's see. This thing is so small. It should, that's the correct way it should have been put on the coin. Instead, they inverted the punch. And there's a couple of versions of this. There is a S over, there is an inverted S over an S. This is just the inverted S. If you look closely at the top of the S, the big ball at the end of the S, kind of like where the serif would be, that is much bigger. That indicates that that should have been in the bottom of the S. And if you look on the way I have it positioned now, the smaller portion of the S is on the bottom, and that technically should have been on the top. So PCGS does not have a listing when you look on their price guide, because they don't recognize all variations. They only recognize the ones that are more sought after than others. Like they have the listing for the micro S, but they do not have a number or a listing for the inverted S, even though it is a variation. So you have to, something like this, I would, if I really wanted to send it off and get it in a holder with the variation, I would have to send it to Annex. That's one thing about Annex. They will recognize all the proven variations. As long as somebody's wrote a book or studied the coin and gave numbers to, developed a numbering system for the die pairs or the dies used. That's how the numbering system gets is done. The ones studying the coins and writing the books, they assign as they find coins, they assign like the anvil die that punches down for the obverse, or not the, I'm sorry, the hammer die that punches down to make the obverse of the coin. They assign it their own number for a die, and then if there's a variation, they will assign that hammer die with a number, and so on and so on. And then the same thing for the reverses, which would be the anvil die. They assign those numbers and they put it together as a matching pair for the different variations. That's how you get your, and then usually the letters before are the initials of either the single author or co-authors or whatever, the people writing the book. The letters represent the initials of the author or authors of the book on the variation for whatever type coin it is. The number represents the die pair that they have cataloged for the variation. And it's pretty interesting stuff when you start reading some of the books and understanding how they just the time that they spent looking at coin after coin, and sometimes big hordes of coins were found, and they, for whatever type coin, and the people writing the book, they actually went and studied those coins and photographed and looked for variations, and that's how your Van book got put together. That's how another guy wrote a book on or did a PDF file version for the seeded $50. Bill Burgett, somebody else, I can't remember the other guy's name, that helped do the study, and they wrote the book on the variations for the seeded $50. And they have the PDF file for the Philly, Denver, San Francisco, and New Orleans. And it's pretty interesting when you read through and they talk about the different hordes that were found. And like with the seeded $50, they found there was a horde, and there was one particular date with a mint mark, and that horde had like 87 of them, and they got to study each of the coins and photograph them. And it's just pretty interesting you just imagine the time some of those people spent, really studying the coins so they could put the information together for the rest of us to have. So you got to appreciate that dedication. But granted, not a high grade coin, not a PCGS recognized variation, but it is a cool find, and I had it in my stack. I said I ran across it because I was looking for the micro S, because I need, my Littleton album has a spot for the micro S. But I'll card this up and put it in one of my other books. I'll write on the card, when I card it up, I'll write on it what it is, and I'll get since Annex has the actual variation, the letters and the numbers, I'll write those on the card. But pretty cool. But anyways, I'm going to cut the video short. Let me know what you think down below. Do you buy the commemoratives when you see them in the junk bin? What do you do? What do you think of the Merc dime that I found in one of my tubes that has an inverted S? To me, it was a pretty cool find. I don't know the value or anything. When I was looking at the S's, I thought, there's something odd about that one. We'll skilly do on the eBay machine or the Google machine, and I found out what it was. So anyways, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you on another one.